Every single year, public companies have to lay it all out there. Not the marketing version, but the legally binding, government-filed truth about how they're really doing. Today, we're going to crack open that official story for one of the most talked about companies on the planet, Tesla.
So let's forget the headlines, the tweets, all the speculation for a minute. What does Tesla, in its own legally required words, have to say about its business? That's the question we're answering today. We're going straight to the source, the Form 10K. This isn't some glossy ad. It's the real deal, the official story.
All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll figure out what this document even is. Then, we'll break down Tesla's business blueprint. Take a look at their official worry list. That's always fun. Peek inside the human engine that powers the whole thing. And finally, we'll dive into the numbers and decode their financial dashboard.
Okay, first things first, the annual checkup. Before we can really get into what Tesla's saying, we've got to understand where they're saying it. And this document, it's the foundation for everything.
So what is this Form 10K? Well, it's something every publicly traded company in the US has to file with the SEC. It's meant to give investors a really thorough, unvarnished look at the business. Honestly, the best way to think of it is like a company's annual physical exam, but where all the results are made public for the world to see.
And boom, right from page 1, you get this. This is Tesla's mission statement in the most direct legal speak possible. No fluff, no marketing spin, just the absolute core of what they do. This is the kind of deliberate, legally vetted language you're going to see throughout the whole report.
So, okay, their official mission is cars and energy systems. But what does that actually look like as a business? Well, the 10K breaks it down into two main buckets.
On one side, you've got the automotive segment. This is what everybody knows Tesla for, right? The cars. But on the other side, you've got their energy generation and storage business. We're talking everything from solar panels for your house to these massive megapack batteries that can power a whole town. It gets less of the spotlight, but for Tesla, it's a huge piece of their identity.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. Because while Tesla says it's two businesses, the numbers tell a slightly different story. The money from cars absolutely dwarfs the energy side. This one chart tells you pretty much everything you need to know about where the money is coming from. Right now, Tesla is overwhelmingly a car company. Now we get to my favorite part of any 10K, the official worry list. This is where a company is legally required to air all its dirty laundry, basically. They have to tell investors everything that could possibly go wrong. But before they spill the beans on their biggest fears, they put up this wall of text. It's pretty dense, and it's a standard legal shield in these reports. But what's it actually trying to say? Yeah, basically, it's the corporate way of saying, no promises. They're covering their bases, right? Hey, we're making our best guess here, but the future's a wild ride, so don't sue us if things don't pan out. Okay, with that legal stuff out of the way, now they can get to the really juicy stuff, the risks. And here's just a little taste of what keeps them up at night. They're talking about intense competition, not just from other EV companies, but from the old school automakers too. They're worried about getting enough batteries, about delays with new models, and about the nightmare of product recalls. And I find this fascinating. They specifically call out hacking as a major risk. Let's zoom in on that last one for a second, because this is wild. Look at the language here. They're not just worried about a car getting hacked, they're talking about someone stealing their trade secrets, massive lawsuits, and their whole reputation going down the drain. It just shows you how much of a tech company they really are, and how seriously they have to take cybersecurity. All right, so a company isn't just cars and code and risks, right? It's all about the people. And the 10K actually gives us a pretty cool look at the huge human machine behind the Tesla logo. And when I say huge, I mean huge. Just look at that number. Over 125,000 people across the globe. That's practically a city. It really puts the incredible scale of their manufacturing and sales operations into perspective.
So how do you manage a workforce that big? You've got to have a solid pipeline for talent. The 10K gives us a peek into their playbook. They have these multi-year apprenticeships, a massive global internship program that brings in around 4,000 students a year, and they even help current employees pay for school. This is their official strategy for getting and keeping the best people. The report even dives into some of the nitty-gritty internal rules, which is pretty interesting. For example, they have this super strict insider trading policy. It means employees can't short the stock. That is, bet that it's going to go down, or hold their stock using borrowed money. It's all about putting up guardrails to keep everything on the level.
Okay, last stop on our tour. We're heading for the financial dashboard. This is where we see the hard numbers behind the story and get a real snapshot of the company's financial health. All right, let's break this table down because it tells a fascinating story. Look at that top line, total revenues, pretty much flat year over year. But then look at the second line, net income. That's pure profit. Whoa, it got cut by more than half. At the exact same time, look at the bottom line. R&D spending went up. So what's the story here? They're selling about the same amount of stuff, making way less profit on it, but they're pouring more money into developing what's next. That's the whole strategy in one little table. And this chart really drives that point home. I mean, just looking at those two bars side by side says it all. The company's profitability took a major hit in 2024. And that's the kind of hard truth that 10K forces a company to be totally transparent about, no matter what the popular narrative is. Of course, you also have to look at the other side of the balance sheet, what the company owes. Their total liabilities are over $48 billion. But here's the key detail, that huge purple slice. Nearly 60% of that is current liabilities. Think of those as bills that are due soon, like within the next year. You can also see that little green slice for deferred revenue. That's money they've already been paid for, stuff they haven't delivered yet, like full self-driving software. All in all, that's a lot of cash that needs to be ready to go out the door. But to counter all those liabilities, look at this. The company is sitting on a mountain of cash. They ended the year with over $16 billion just in cash and cash equivalents. That's their war chest. It's the financial cushion that lets them fund all that ambitious R&D and handle any bumps in the road. So after all that, after peeling back the layers of the official 10K, we're left with this one big question. We see a company dominated by its cars, facing some really serious competition and dealing with a big drop in profits. But at the same time, it has this massive global workforce and a huge pile of cash. Does that complex, nuanced reality match the simpler story we often hear? That's really something to think about.